Good afternoon, grade 10 students. Hope you're doing well, Miss. Today we will be working with a worksheet related to electricity, the 3 chapters, potential difference, electric current, and resistors. We will be starting by the exercise 1. In the first exercise, you have in the adjacent figure, we have an electric circuit formed of a generator and containing another 3 resistors, R2, which is given as 3 ohm. Then we have R3 is equal to 2 ohm, and we have that R1 is not given. First, this is the circuit containing a battery or dry cell supplying a voltage UPN, and we are having 3 resistors. R1 and R3 are connected in series, and R2 is connected is parallel to both of them. And also we have this characteristic VI curve. So let's check. The adjacent graph shows the characteristic IV curve of the equivalent resistance of R1, R2, and R3. So as this sentence implies, this graph is responsible or is related to the equivalent resistance. And it doesn't represent R1 or R2 or R3 alone. It represents the R equivalence of these 3 resistances together. First of all, it's asked to calculate based on the graph the resistance equivalent to R1, R2, and R3. So this graph شوفي بقلبها, it contains the voltage as a function of the current. يعني في عندي V and I'm having I also, and I'm asked to calculate a resistance. So I have to be thinking what is the relation that links voltage, current, as well as the resistance. ما في إلا Ohm's law. So I have to be writing Ohm's law or applying Ohm's law. It states that V equal R times I. Once I'm speaking about R equivalence, so I have to be writing here small e about R equivalence. So thus, according to the pyramid that we already know, we have V in the upper side and we have RE and I. So RE will be equal to V over I. And what values of V and I بننقي حيلا values. يعني فيني نقي 4 على 2, بس الشرط انه I will be taking the values that correspond to each other. يعني 4 مع 2 مثلا, or 3 with 1.5. فيني اخد 2 مع 1, فيني اخد 1 مع 0.5. So any one of these will give the same answer. Let's check مثلا 1 over 0.5 as well as 2 over 1. The answer will be 2. As we are speaking about R, so the answer will be of course in ohms. So this is the first part. The second part, calculate R1. We are asked to calculate the resistance R1 اللي هي كانت not given from the very beginning of the exercise. Okay. First of all, لما يكون في عندي أنا when I'm having resistors و I calculate the R equivalence بمشي بسيكونس معين. Let's check what is this sequence. يعني let's consider the circuit we are given now. We are given في عندي R1, another one which is R3, and they are parallel with R2. First of all, if I'm going to calculate the R equivalence, step 1, I will be replacing R1 and R3 by a resistor equivalent to these two. It will be called R13. There still be R2. Then I will be saying that R13 and R2 are in parallel, so I have to be replacing both of them by another resistance اللي هي R equivalence that I've already calculated إنه هي equal to 2 ohm. So I know إنه the R equivalence, the final one, is equal to 2 ohm. And I know also إنه R2 is equal to 3 ohm. I have to be knowing what is the value of R13 in order to be knowing what is the value of R1. إذن بهذا النوع من الأسئلة أنا بالحالة الطبيعية بيكون معي resistance للR1 والR3 والR2 وبطلع الR equivalence حسب إذا كانوا series ولا parallel. I will be choosing the rule and calculating. بس هالمرة أنا معي الR equivalence, one of the resistances is missing, so I will be working in an opposite way هالمرة. يعني first of all I will be saying إنه هيدي الRE هي is the equivalent of R13 and R2 لأنه they are in parallel. So I will be saying إنه R13 and R2 are in parallel. thus R equivalence will be equal to their product على their sum. يعني هي عبارة عن R13 times R2 over R13 plus R2. So R equivalence I already know and it's equal to 2 ohm, equal I13 I don't know what is its value, R2 is equal to 3 ohm على R13 plus 3. هلا هيدي is the same of 2 equal 3 R13 على R13 plus 3. يعني when I'm saying إنه I'm having x times 3 it is the same of 3x. So R13 times 3 it is the same of 3 R13. Of course now I will be making a cross multiplication, then I will be having 2 R13 plus 6 and the answer will be equal to 3 R13. I will be bringing R13 to the same side, so 2 R13 minus 3 R13, I will be taking 6 to the second side, it will be equal to minus 6, so minus R13 equal to minus 6 and R13 will be equal to 6 ohm. So by this way إذن if you focus miss إذن أنا بلشت in an opposite way. بالعادي بمشي بهيدي الطريقة step 1 then step 2 then step 3. I'm starting from step 3 عملت return على step 2 طلعت من خلال R13. So what is the rest of the steps? من خلال R13 I will be calculating R1 and R3 in the same sequence and in the same order miss. As I said هن in parallel, then I choose the convenient rule. Now I will be saying إنه R1 and R3 are in series, وبالتالي I will be choosing the convenient rule that says إنه R13 which is equivalent to both of them is equal to their sum, so it's equal to R1 plus R3. So let's continue بهذه الحالة. R13 is equal to 6 and R1 is the one I'm searching for and R3 is equal to 2 ohm, so R1 will be equal to 6 minus 2 and it will be equal to 4 ohm. And then by this way I made a calculation and I calculated the resistance of the resistor R1. That's regarding to exercise 1. Okay, let's now start with the second exercise, exercise 2. Consider the electric circuit represented by the figure below, and the oscilloscope is used to visualize the voltage of the resistor. إذن الأوسيلوسكوب على مين عم يقرأ؟ It will be reading along or across the terminals of the resistor, and we are given an oscillogram such that SV is equal to 4 volt per division. So, first of all, we are asked to be redrawing the electric circuit, showing the connections of the oscilloscope across the resistor. Okay, I will not be redrawing, I will be writing it on the figure. Let's concentrate yes. Once I'm asked to connect an oscilloscope, I have to be checking and making sure إنه هيدا الأوسيلوسكوب is reading a positive or negative voltage. As هيدا luminous line رح يكون displaced downward, so هيدا الأوسيلوسكوب مش رح يكون connected. It will not be connected to read a positive voltage, بالعكس رح تقرأ negative voltage. يعني على ميلة البوزيتيف I will be having the ground, وعميلة النيجاتيف I will be having the phase. إذا أنا بالحالة الطبيعية الفيز will be connected to the side of the positive pole لحتى يقرأ positive, والground will be connected to the side of the negative pole. بس as from the screen of the oscillogram it's reading a negative value of the voltage, so I have to be connecting the oscilloscope in a wrong way. That's why I connected it this way. Okay, part 2. So based on this, what does the oscilloscope measure? Is it reading VBA ولا VAB? أكيد you have to be in a full focus إنه هيدا الأوسيلوسكوب will be connected across the terminals of the resistors, مش اللامب ولا الأميتر ولا الباتري. So, what is the voltage that the oscilloscope is measuring? Always the oscilloscope measures from the phase to the ground, so it will be reading VBA. So VBA or VAB, VBA, and we are asked to make a justification. So since the oscilloscope reads from B to A, يعني from phase to channel, or since B is connected to the phase and A is connected to the ground of the oscilloscope. Okay, so let's continue to part 3. Calculate the voltage measured by the oscilloscope. I know إنه I'm having two rules. لما يكون في عندي voltmeter, analog voltmeter, I have be thinking with V equal N times R على N total. إذا أنا having oscilloscope, I have to be thinking إنه V equal as V times Y. Always this way it works. Which V it's measuring, as well as of course it's measuring VBA, ولازم تطلع معي negative. So as V هي given from the very beginning of the exercise, it's 4 volt per division times the Y. As we can see, its displacement is downward, so the Y will be -2 and the answer will be -8 لأن هون في عندي division with per division, they will cancel each other and the answer will be in volts. It's expected as we are having the wrong connection, طبيعي إنه الفولتج يطلع معي negative. If it's not negative يعني you're making something wrong.